Welcome to today's inspirational nugget. It is titled The Authority of Content. We looked at audience analysis. We looked at setting a goal, why you need to communicate. We now need to look at the importance of content, the authority of content. You see, communication ought to be heard. It's not just knowing your audience. It is also what you say, your content, the credibility of your content, the truthfulness of your content, the usefulness of your content, and the relevance of your content. Did you get that? The lessons from Christ's communication skills is what is driving this month's theme. In the book of Mark chapter 1, I'm talking about verse 22 through to verse 28, summarizing this way. The Bible says that the men who listened to Jesus and the women, they were amazed at the authority of his content, of what he says, because he doesn't teach like the other teachers of the law, the rabbis and the Pharisees. Then when you read down, it says that they were amazed at his doctrine, and then his fame went throughout the land. Take note, they were amazed at the authority of Christ's content. They were amazed at the newness of his content. They were amazed at what he brought on board. And then his fame went throughout the land. So what is the authority of Christ's content? Where did Christ derive his authority from? When you read the book of John chapter 8, you read John chapter 12, Christ made some serious statement. Number one, he said all that he speaks is from the Father. The Father is his teacher. That is his source. And he says, he knows the Father's will. He communicates what the Father wants him to communicate. Simple. The secret to Jesus' communication authority and power and influence is in some 5 thematic areas. Number one, he spoke with authority because of the source. It says, whatever I speak is from the Father. John chapter 8. So the lesson is, you need to speak from credible content. The lesson in that is, when you want to speak to be heard, you need to have a credible source. You will be discredited. You will not be respected. Your message will not make the impact if your source is questionable, if your source is not credible. If you are speaking to people in the area of science, get scientific credible sources. If you are speaking to people in social sciences, get credible sources. Source is credible if indeed you want to be heard. The second secret from Jesus' communication insight is that Christ knows the source of his message. He masters the message. He says, I know the will of my Father. In other words, every statement Jesus will say, he knows his content. He masters his content. If you want to be heard, you need to master your content. Know your way around your message. Have a grasp over your content. You need to know what you are saying. You need to have a complete understanding of your content. Aside having a credible source, you need to master your subject. You need to know your content. Be familiar with your content. These are very critical secrets of Jesus' communication skills. Point number 3. Christ delivers a credible message. His messaging has authority, as we read in Mark chapter 1, because he is familiar with the letter and the spirit of the word. He said the spirit communicates to him. He knows from the Father. He knows both the letter and the spirit of his content. In other words, the lesson there is, for you to speak to make an impact, for you to communicate to be heard, you need to know your message completely, know your content comprehensively, know your message, your content inside out. Christ was completely aware of the letter and then the spirit of his content. Know your content. Don't fabble around your content. Grasp the content, the spirit, the reason, the rationale, so to speak, behind your content. Are you desirous to make an impact when you speak to be heard? You need to bring new perspective to your messaging and your content. When people listen to you every day, there should be something new that they should pick out. Even if it's your child, even if it's a group of young people, if your employees, Christ, the Bible says in Mark chapter 1, that the people were amazed at his doctrine. He brought in a new perspective to what they know. Remember, he says, you've heard in the past, it was said, an eye for an eye. But I say to you, you get the point. He brought new perspective. You heard in the past, when someone slap you, slap the person an eye for an eye. He says, when someone slap you, turn the other cheek. Christ brought a new perspective. You've heard in the past, whosoever sleep with a woman, he says, I bring to you. If you look at the woman lustfully, bring new perspective to the subject matter. Do you want to speak to make an impact? You need to know the authority of your content. My name is Godswill TK Mensah. I want to be part of your life as you deliver an authoritative content that transforms life. Know a credible source to draw from. Understand that your messaging must not just be one of a message. You need to master what you are saying. You need to understand the spirit and the letter of your messaging. And more importantly, you also need to bring new perspective to the subject matter, relevance, truthfulness, authenticity. Spend some time. Subscribe to my social media handles. And most importantly, Tuber Freak. Be faithful. Speak with authority and a good content.